Welcome to episode 1 of the Brazenest podcast, where we're all about helping you build an online business, work less, earn more, travel often, and live your most brazen, audacious, and badass life. I'm your host, Brooke Roberts, and I'm so excited to have you here on the first sort of episode of the Brazenest podcast. Now, if you are an OG person, you've been around a while, you can see that things are looking a little different. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that today. But what I really want to focus on today is giving you massive value and really set the stage for what we're going to be talking about at Brazenest moving forward. And so today I'm going to outline for you the 4 pillars or the 4 key drivers of an online passive income business. Now, if you're new to me and you've never heard of me, welcome. Hello. Again, my name is Brooke Roberts, and I am an online entrepreneur. I have been doing this for a while. Technically, I launched my first business. I say business in quotes because it was a blog. I didn't know what I was doing, but technically I launched that in early 2009, and that blog turned into a multiple 6-figure passive income online business called Inside Study Abroad. I also launched another company called Yoga Travel Tree, which has its own story, and I'm sure you'll be hearing lots about those anecdotes later. And then I have another business called the Study Abroad Journal, which is a physical product business where people buy a physical journal when they want to go study abroad, and they use that to help guide them and reflect on their experience while they are abroad. And now we have Brazenest. Brazenest is sort of my business baby where I get to talk about business. It's kind of meta, but all my other businesses, it wasn't really the place for me to talk about business, marketing, branding, growing your career, really all these topics and things that I'm really passionate about. There wasn't really container for that. And so Brazenest exists so that I can teach you everything I've learned over the past 11 years of operating in the online space, and the lessons I've learned, the mistakes I've made, and what I recommend for you going forward if you want to build your own online business and passive income business so that you can have freedom of location, freedom of time, freedom of income, so that you can do the things that you really want to do. I want you to be able to give freely to the people and causes that you care about. I want you to be able to travel the world. I want you to be able to live in Budapest or the burbs, wherever you want to be. I want you to have the freedom to make choices about your life, your financial life, your life where you live, and not feel trapped and not feel like you're forced into any version of life that just doesn't feel good to you. So, with that being said, let's launch into the purpose of this video. Let me actually pause. Before we do this, I do want to let you know that I do have a resource for you. It's completely free. It's my 30-day online business roadmap. It's a PDF checklist, no fluff. It's going to show you step by step what you need to do every week for 4 weeks to go from no audience, no idea, no income to actually making some money online. Is it going to be perfect? Is it going to be replacing your full-time income right now? Probably not. If it does do that, let me know, because good on you. But it's going to show you what it takes and getting a taste of what it means to start earning an income online and the mechanisms that you need to have in place to make your business profitable. Okay, so let's launch into the 4 pillars or the 4 key drivers of an online passive income business. Now, the thing about passive income, you may have heard this phrase before, and you may be one of those people who's like, I call shenanigans. I do not believe in this idea of passive income. And maybe for you, you think if somebody talks about passive income, that they don't work at all for their money. They're just like lazy. They're sitting on a drink. They're sitting on a beach drinking cocktails and really not adding any real value to the world. They're just like collecting paychecks. And that couldn't be further from the truth. I will talk about that in just a second. You might also think that it's a fad, right? You might think like, oh, this is just a flash in the pan kind of business model that isn't going to have legs moving in the future. You might just think it's fake. You might think that people are swindling you if they talk about passive income or talk about earning passive income, or that it's a big scam. I know I used to kind of think that. And then you might also just think that it's not really feasible, like it's just this mythical thing that maybe you don't have the special sauce to do it, that maybe other people can do it, but it's just not something for you, which would be very far from the truth. So I want to sort of debunk some of those myths or perceptions you might have about passive income and kind of reclaim that terminology so that we can move forward feeling good about passive income, start seeing what the possibilities are of passive income, and not think like, oh, that's kind of gross, I don't want to touch it. So the first thing I want to debunk is that passive income means you don't work. Yes, you can work less with passive income. That's all part of our tagline, right? Work less, earn more. However, it doesn't mean that you don't work. In fact, I am a huge believer that hard work is going to be necessary in order to launch a business and a brand, get it out into the world, add value to people's lives, actually offer something of value for money. That all takes work. That takes effort. You're going to have to figure a lot of things out, and it's just not going to magically land in your lap. So it's just not this mythical, magical, like poof, you have money. There is going to be work involved. Money comes from work. I don't know. I've been working technically since second grade. I was 9 years old, and my brother and my mom and we lived in an apartment building, and my mom basically got a weekly job where we cleaned the apartment complex. Like we vacuumed the hallways and we cleaned the laundry rooms. We dusted, the railings and things like that. And she put my brother and I to work. Let's not tell the IRS because I'm sure there's a child labor law violation there somewhere. But at a very early age, I learned the value of money because my mom paid us. She compensated us for the effort that we put in. And so I learned very on, like, if you work, you earn. If you work, you earn. Now, I don't believe that just working harder all the time and hustling your way to success and profits is the way forward. And I'm sure I'll talk more about that in future episodes. But money comes from work. By adding value to someone's life. And there's a lot of ways you can add value. You can entertain people. You can help them get a desired result or an outcome or achieve something that they've really wanted to achieve. Money does not come from nothing. I know a lot of people will say oh, trust fund babies, that's money that comes from nothing. Technically, maybe for them, but somewhere along the line, somebody worked hard in their family or in their lineage, and as a result, they earned a lot of money and had that generational wealth that they could then pass on. So that money did come from some initial form of work. Whereas you can get money from work, your wealth is going to come from how you manage that money. And that, again, we'll talk about that in future episodes. So, and if I keep looking over here, it's because I have notes, because I don't want to get off track. I'm known for just being able to jabber on, so I'm just want to stay focused with what I'm sharing with you guys today. So it is all about exchanging value for money, okay? There's a value exchange, an energy exchange, and the way that we do this in our society is we do this through money. We aren't a bartering system anymore. We do something of value, we get paid in return. So that's what we're thinking about with passive income. I want to show you how you can do some work, and earn an income through this sort of passive income engine that we're going to talk about today, and show you how you can earn passive income and earn disproportionate wealth as a result of that. So you will do a fixed amount of work or upfront work, and then get disproportionate or exponential income as it relates to that. So most of us, when we think of work, we think, okay, growing up, after the janitorial job, when I got a legitimate job working at fast food restaurants, I worked as a cashier in a grocery store. I worked as a video store clerk, which is, by the way, the best job ever. I got to basically watch movies and do my I got paid to do my homework. It was like a clutch job. I don't even think video stores exist anymore. But yeah, I loved that job. But in those jobs, whether it was fast food or the video store, the grocery store, I had a shift. I worked my 4-hour, 8-hour shift, and I got paid per hour. I exchanged my time for that money. That work I put in that time, they gave me money in exchange. That's what we're mostly used to. And then as we go in our careers and we launch our careers, then it's still time for money, except we call it something different. Now we call it a salary in exchange for a 40-hour, 50-hour work week, whatever, your career asks of you, basically. And so we get into this time for money exchange, as time for money value exchange in our careers. And that's what we're used to. Most of us, and if you're watching this video, you might be like, yeah, that's what I'm doing right now. I work 9 to 5, might be working from home, you might be going into the office now, but that's what you do. You show up, you do some work in a fixed amount of time, and then you get paid. And the only real way to grow that income, and we'll probably talk about this in future episodes around growing your career and growing your income through your career. But the fastest way to grow that income is to switch jobs or get a massive promotion, right? That's the only way you're really going to up level your income in a career container. So business owners have a lot more opportunity to grow their income in meaningful ways because they're the owner of the business. And if they're smart, they can figure out new ways to scale their income beyond their time. So even if you have a brick and mortar business right now, let's say you own a couple coffee shops, you can scale that business to the point where you don't have to be there for every single transaction. You don't have to be there pouring every single cup of coffee. You can hire a team and managers to basically get the machine rolling for you while you are not there. Obviously, that costs money to hire human capital and systems in place to make that work, but you don't have to be there for every transaction. That's the beauty of being the owner of a business. But where we're going to start talking about passive income is when you don't actually have to spend a ton of more money. You don't need a ton of more human capital, actual workers doing the work in order to make exponentially more revenue and profits on top of that. So that's where our passive income component. And this is where I'm very passionate about people who already have a business. If you already have a service-based business or a brick and mortar business, and especially those of you who we've all felt the pains of the last year, I feel like every type of business needs a passive income component, whether you're like me and Inside City Abroad and where it's almost completely passive at this point, or you already have a service, you're a photographer or you're a coach or consultant, you're a social media manager, you're a VA, I don't know. Well, you do all sorts of fun stuff. You run people's ads, you do video editing, you are an accountant, you are a health coach, a nutritionist. I mean, the sky's the limit on what you could be doing online and your knowledge base. But I feel like whatever business type you have, you should have a passive income component because we all need to be diversifying our income streams. I think we've all learned that lesson this year in the last 18 months. And hopefully you learned it before, but it just brought it to the surface. Gotta love a global pandemic. No, you don't. All right, so that's what we want to be thinking about in terms of how do we start getting disproportionate income in relation to the effort that we're putting in. When you build something that's passive, you can build it once and then it keeps earning for you in perpetuity with very little ongoing work or ongoing maintenance from you. So that's what we want to think about when we think about passive income is a disproportionate amount of wealth compared to how much work you're putting in, okay? However, online business, and I'm going to talk about online business and use the term online business a lot, but I will say as someone who's had and has multiple online businesses, not all online businesses are created equal. That's why this passive income component is super important, okay? Having an online business gives you one of 3 types of freedom. I guess I'm going to be talking about 4 types of freedom that you can get from an online business. But having just an online business where you can deliver your value, whatever that value you're bringing to a business or an organization or clients and customers, whatever that value you do, and you can deliver that digitally, right? That's an online business. Now you are divorced from location. You don't have to show up to a physical place every time. So it gives you this location freedom. And frankly, as someone who has traveled all over the world running my online businesses, I went to lived and worked in 27 countries in 18 months as a digital nomad and grew my businesses, worked less than 20 hours a week. It's beautiful. I know how amazingly awesome, I don't know, that's worse. I know how incredible having an online business can be, because that location freedom is something that is actually the most valuable component for me of all of the freedom elements that that an online business gives you. I value my freedom of location. I think it spins from growing up in rural Kansas and kind of feeling like that was it and there was nothing else out there for me. And so now in my subconscious, I just think like, no, I want to have the freedom to fly and go wherever I want and be wherever I want all the time. So that's just me though. But location freedom is the first thing that an online business is going to give you. It's just super valuable. You can be near your family. I know for me, when I was still living in Colorado back in the day, I had my online business, and when my grandparents got sick, I was able to go and be back in rural Kansas, running my business, earning an income while being close to my family. I know for some people, just being able to move closer to their parents when they start having kids, so that the grandparents can be near their kids and they can grow up with those people in their lives. That's super valuable to them. Maybe you just want to stop having to commute an hour and a half each way every single day. So there's a lot of value in having that location freedom, but truly that's the first thing an online business gets you. What we want to get to is also your time freedom. So you want to start earning income in a way that you win back your time. Because I don't know about you, I don't want to work. Even if I have a bazillion dollar a year business and I have to work 80 hours a week on it, like, no, do not sign me up for that. Don't put me down. Don't put me down for that. Just for me, that's just not worth it. And it's probably not worth it to you. You probably want to build your own business because you want some freedom and flexibility to go live the life that you really want to live. So we want to get to the point where we have our time freedom, and you need passive income in order to do that. If you are trading your time for money or your service for money, and you're involved in every single transaction and delivering on every single product and service that you offer right now, then you don't have your time freedom. You have to be there to make money. We want to remove you from this process so that you don't have to be there for every single transaction. All right, so this would involve if you're doing coaching, consulting, a service-based business, like I mentioned before. All of these require your time. You're part of that transaction. Now, this is what happened to me with Yoga Travel Tree. Is technically it was a tech startup, and so as we were building out the tech platform, which is a whole other episode that I can dive into later, I needed to bring in money for the business because I had raised a little bit of investor capital, but all of that money went to the tech side of building out the tech solution that we were trying to create. So I need to bring in actual operating expenses, like paying myself and paying the team and other things that we needed to pay for as a business. And so I started doing business and marketing consulting for yoga teachers, yoga studios. I did more general, business and marketing strategy. Later on, I did yoga retreats and yoga teacher training, planning and launching and delivery and doing tons of done for you services in that realm as well. But all of that took a ton of my time. And I got to the point where I had maxed out my client load and my time. I couldn't work more than 12 hours a day without going completely batshit crazy. And so I had to figure out a way to scale beyond me having to deliver the information, the implementation, all of it. I had to figure out a way to scale beyond myself. And so I decided I would create some videos online, put them up on a website so that I can give my clients access to those videos, and I didn't have to be there to sort of teach them some of the basics. And then they'd have a coaching call with me once they went through the training and I'd be able to answer their questions. So I was able to remove myself from a big chunk of the time. But what I was shocked to find out is that even more people opted into this digital version of my consulting and coaching because it was more affordable, because I didn't have to be there so often. Before I was charging thousands of dollars to get access to me and my coaching. Now I could charge a few $100s and people were like, "Oh yeah, give me your knowledge." And it was all packaged up for them in an online course. That was initially called the Soulful Business Bootcamp, which is more of my pan business stuff. And then I launched Retreat Rockstar, which I still offer today, which takes people through the full kit and caboodle of how to create, launch, sell out, and lead destination retreats and group travel programs. But I had to learn the hard way that, wow, having an online business is great because I could do it from anywhere, but I hadn't won back my time freedom yet because I was part of every transaction. So if you have a business now, or if you're thinking about starting a business, or you have a service that you're offering, or if you're feeling just overwhelmed by all the work that you're doing right now, I'm going to walk you through the 4 key pillars or components, or what I call the key drivers to start building an online passive income business. All right. So what this does for you, and we'll talk a little bit more about this at the end, but this gives you also this idea that there's no limit, there's no ceiling, there's an unlimited supply of digital things. So you can scale your income beyond your time and your ability to deliver on a service, etc. So you're going to get that financial freedom. That's that third freedom component that I mentioned before. But what this also does, once you build this passive income, I call it the automatic income engine. Once you've built this and you start earning a consistent amount of income every single month on autopilot, it gives you another type of freedom, and that's the freedom of creativity. You don't have the pressure to just sell all the time. You don't have the pressure to feel like, oh my God, I need to make money. Like I got to do something really fast just to bring in some money. When you start building this, when you build this engine and you get it well oiled and it's starting to bring in consistent income every single month, you can focus on the top end of the system, the first pillar, if you will, and start just bringing massive amounts of value. How do you serve your customers, your clients? How do you make your products and what you offer a dream come true? How can you build out new products and new opportunities to learn or engage with you in meaningful ways? It just gives you that creativity that I think a lot of us miss when we feel that feast and famine of a business, or we just feel like, wow, all of our eggs are in one basket. So that's that fourth freedom component that I think a lot of people don't talk about. But as business owners, we got to get really real about some of the struggles that happen when you build a business. And you want your freedom of location, and you want your freedom, your financial freedom, and no income ceiling, and you want your time freedom. You want to win back your time. But beyond that, we want a freedom of creativity to build and add value in cool ways, while we also have some security on the back end in our automated system. So let's dive into the 4 pillars, or the 4 key drivers of an online passive income business. This is everything that's under the hood of my businesses, or that I've built in the past as well. So the first pillar, the first key driver is consistent free content. I call this the discovery driver. What is this? So this is going to come in the form of YouTube videos. It's going to come in the form of written articles, or in the form of a podcast. As the name describes, this is how you get discovered. This is how people find out about you and your business and brand online. This is the way you're going to attract people into your ecosystem. And why I love free content, we also call this content marketing in the online space. I love it for many, many reasons. First is, 1, that it gets you discovered. 2, it establishes your authority and credibility. It shows that you know what you're talking about. You have some experience with this. You've gotten some results for yourself or other people. And it shows that you actually have some expertise that you can put your money where your mouth is, so to speak, and that you can say, look, I have these ideas and this is how I can help you get XYZ results. This credibility factor is really important. You may have heard people talk about the know, like, and trust factor, because people want to do business. They want to buy from brands and individuals that they know. And this is how they get to know you, through content that they like, and they can figure out, oh, I like learning from them. I like their mojo. I like their mission, their perspective on the world, their outlook on the world, that like factor. And then the trust factor. Can I trust you? Can I trust you that you can get me the results, or you can teach me the information, or you can add value to me in a way that is meaningful and it's going to help me have a better life in some capacity. So that is why this free, consistent, valuable content is so important. This content marketing. We often call this pull marketing, because you're sort of like, come into my world, take a seat around my table, hello and welcome to my home. It's sort of that nice, delicate sort of like, come on in, I'm ushering you in, taking someone by the arm and saying hello and welcome. There's another type of marketing, or this content, this driver side of things, that is the push marketing. And this is paid, oftentimes the sponsored stuff, where people are sort of being pushed. You're pushing yourself in front of somebody. Content marketing is all about that pull, that delicate pull of introducing and bringing people in a nice way, saying, hello, welcome, let me teach you something today, or add value for free for something today. The other part of content that is really wonderful, and especially content marketing, is that it's shareable. If you create something that's really valuable, people are more likely to go, damn, that was good. And they're going to want to share it with other people and say, oh my God, you got to go check this out. And oftentimes, if you entertain people, they're more likely to share it, right? You made them laugh. You just found you gave some kind of emotion that they love, and they want to share that emotion by sharing your content. Or you just taught something really valuable that you have other people who are like, you have to go listen to this. This is super helpful. For me, in my past businesses and my current business, so for Inside Study Abroad, for instance, I remember the first time I created a piece of content that really popped and kind of put my business on the map. And it was a basic blog post, and I'd answered this question a million times, it seemed like, over email. And I finally decided I might as well post this on the blog. And people always ask me, how do I get a job and study abroad without a master's degree? And so I was like, God, I've answered this email a million times. Why don't I just take my answers, clean it up, make it, legible, and collate that all together and just post it as a blog post. So then I just can stop emailing people. I can just send them the link to this blog. That is seriously the strategy behind that particular blog post, i.e. there was no strategy. I was just trying to save myself time. Well, I posted that, and within a week, I think that one post had gotten, and for me, this was huge, so don't, but for me in my industry and the reach I'd gotten previously, I think my website at that point was getting 50 hits a week, maybe a day, I should say. And that one blog post, I think, got 25,000 hits within a week, that one post. And it actually revolutionized my business, because I started thinking about, instead of just posting my thoughts and randomness about careers and the international education industry, what I had been doing previously is like, maybe I should start answering questions that I get all the time in blog post format. And that actually changed the course of my business. And I'll tell more about my story in a future episode, I'm sure. But that one piece of content still to this day drives a ton of traffic to Inside Study Abroad, which leads to the next stage in the next pillar, if you will, of an online passive income business. At Yoga Travel Tree, when I still had that company up and running, we were posting 3 articles a day, answering the common questions and key topics and things that people were searching for in Google and on YouTube. And so we made a point to sort of, let's just start answering common questions and posting them as blog posts. And that drove hundreds of thousands of visitors to our website every single month, which then led to pillar number 2, which is your irresistible lead magnet. So now that you are out there getting discovered by people through your free content, video, articles, podcasts, etc., Now you want to take it a step further with it. If you think about this in like a dating analogy, sort of before you're just like, hi, how you doing? Nice to meet you. Maybe you had coffee. Now you want to take it to the next level and be like, hey, do you want to go on a real date with me, right? You want to go out to dinner. So this is your lead magnet. You want to invite people even further into your world and your ecosystem. And you do this by offering even more value. I call this the lead driver. This brings leads into your business. People who could be potential customers. And grows your audience. And what this means is that you're going to attract them or magnetize them into giving them massive value in exchange for their email address. Now, you've probably heard of email marketing, opt-ins, freebies, lead magnets, all sorts of terminology around this. But our whole goal with this is that we want to take our relationship with our audience to the next level, and we want to get them to give us their email. Now, I'll talk in future episodes again about why email is better than social media and all the things, but here's the rundown of why you need to be collecting emails and not relying on people coming back to your website or just following you on social media or hearing about you in other ways, is because all of those other platforms and all of those other mediums, you don't have any real consistency and you don't have control over your reach and how you show up for those people. So I'm going to give you an example of why, for instance, email is better than Instagram. Now, I've been on Instagram for a very long time. I think I was on Instagram before there was really an app. I think it was still like online, it was their initial beta. But if you've been on Instagram for a long time, you know that it started off as a chronological feed. It was purely organic. You could go through and you could scroll through your feed of images and you would see every single image that anyone you followed had posted in the last however long since you had logged in last. And it was great. So you could keep up with your friends and any other people that you found through the app, and you would see everything that they posted. Well, as you know, then Instagram changed the rules and we say, okay, we want to make your feed more about what you interact with and what you engage with. And so then they changed it so they're going to show you posts that you are most likely to like or comment on, right? At that point, it was all about liking and commenting. They didn't even have the share function yet. And so then they changed it. So then you're like, okay, I got to get people to engage, get them to like and get them to comment so I show up in people's feeds. Then they changed the rules again and they introduced stories to the mix. And they said, okay, now we need you to start posting stories and the day behind the scenes day in the life. And that's going to help you get more engagement on your feed and your stories if you're posting stories. I think then they launched IGTV or whichever one, live or IGTV was next. And so it's like, then you had to do that version of it in order to show up in people's feeds. And now, of course, it's all about reels. If you're not doing reels on Instagram, you're less likely to show up in feeds. The point is, Instagram keeps moving the goalpost on your ability to reach the audience that you've cultivated and built on Instagram. However, if you focus on building your email list, that is never going to change. People are like, it's hard. I don't have the stats in front of me, but I think it's like, 90% of people say that they will never change their email only because it's super tedious to do so. Because you don't just change your email and then be like, tell your family and friends. You have to tell every credit card company, every website you've ever established an account with. Every time you do that with an email account. Look, even Facebook and Instagram, they require you to give them your email because they know that's going to be the best way to stay in touch with you and give you information and tell you about new features and maybe sell you a product or something in the future. Email is still the number one way people make buying decisions and make purchases. I think I heard a stat earlier this week saying that 60% of consumers online prefer to purchase via email sales and email promotions versus 6 or 7% prefer to make a purchase via Facebook or via Instagram, for instance. When people log into any social media platform, what do we want to do? We want to scroll. We want to scroll, and then maybe we'll see something that makes us stop the scroll, and we'll watch a funny TikTok or watch a reel or look at a video, or maybe there's a cool meme that somebody, or maybe it's a friend of yours and they had a really great caption. You want to hear about what they're doing. But for the most part, we're there just to be entertained. It's passive. We don't go there going, I would like to buy some shoes. Let me go to Instagram. Typically not. So think if you're wanting to earn income online, then focusing on growing an Instagram or a Facebook or a TikTok following, it can be valuable in some ways, but it should not be your primary driver for sales later on. So you want to get your leads on your email list. So I think that beat that dead horse, but yes, you want to create a valuable or irresistible lead magnet that people will get in exchange for giving you their email address. Now, this could be a PDF guide. Like, for instance, I mentioned at the top of this episode, I have my 30-day online income roadmap where it shows you step-by-step checklist, what to do every single week in order to start earning an income online in the next 4 weeks. That is my irresistible lead magnet. And so in exchange for giving me my email, you'll get an automated email from me that says, hey, here's your guide. Welcome to the Brazenest universe, right? So that's what it could be. It could also be a free video, a free training, a webinar, a workshop. What else could it be? It could be a free trial. It could also be a discount code. You may have gone to Old Navy or Banana Republic and you're looking around on the site and all of a sudden you get a pop-up that says 10% off if you give us our email, right? So even the big brands of the world, they are using this strategy to grow their business. This is sort of where we start building out our value flywheel. This is something I talk about in the Build Your Online Business Incubator. But this is where that ecosystem the engine starts to churn. So you got your free content, and if people want to go deeper with you, you have this irresistible lead magnet that is going to give them even more information, dive deep, get them faster results, a quick win, all those types of things. In the academic world, which is kind of where I operate in for Inside Study Abroad, white papers are very common where people share some research and case studies and data points about the impact of study abroad programs, things like that. So a lot of different ways you can slice and dice what a lead magnet is, but it's up to you to figure out what would be super irresistible and valuable to my audience, and how can I go deeper with them and add a great amount of value to them. So for me, for Brazenest, my whole goal is to help more people achieve location, time, and financial freedom through the power of an online business. And the only way I'm going to get you to take action and do that and believe it's possible is if I give you some quick wins. If I can get you that feeling of earning your first income online, then you're going to come back and go, oh my gosh, what Brooke taught me really works. I want to go back and learn more. Maybe you'll want to work with me through coaching or my membership program, or go on one of our digital nomad adventures later on in 2022. Stay tuned. So all of these things is going to make you go, I want to keep learning from Brazenest and Brooke because I got results. So you want to think about how you can give people some results through your irresistible lead magnet. This is your lead driver. Okay. Now this brings us to pillar number 3, or driver 3, and it's our sales driver. This is our email autoresponder sequence. This is the part that makes the passive part of passive income, right? So this is the part where you actually can start making sales, and you're going to create a series of emails that are going to add lots of value, introduce your product or your solution to their problem or their challenge, or your the thing that's going to bring great value to them, take them even deeper to getting the result that they really want. And it's where you're going to pitch your product and ask for the sale in this email autoresponder sequence. Now, in terms of tools I use to do this, I use and love Kajabi. It's amazing. I will talk more about this in future episodes because it has changed my businesses. It has changed my life. I used to be the person Frankensteining and jerry-rigging, duct taping together like 6 different software solutions to do all these different things. Now I do everything inside of Kajabi. And I love it. So I'll talk more about Kajabi later, but that's what I use. You could also use something like ConvertKit. You could use something like Podia. Of course, people are probably familiar with MailChimp, although I don't recommend MailChimp. You could use SendFox, which I highly recommend. It's free and you can do this whole automation sequence inside of SendFox. But basically what you're going to do is you want to think of like a journey you want to take people on through your autoresponder sequence. And the first thing you want to do when somebody comes onto your list is you want to welcome them. You want to welcome them into your home, if you will. You want to kind of give them a tour around, make them feel comfortable. What are you all about? So I always like to start my welcome sequences with a, hey, hi, are we even a good fit? This is what we're about, because they may have really loved your lead magnet, and that's a very specific thing, but you want to make sure that they are in the right place. I always like people to know right away, is this a good fit for me? So having that welcome email that says, this is what we're all about, this is what you can expect from us in terms of the value we can provide. Here are other ways you can engage with us. So, you know, if they're now on your email list, now's the time to say, hey, join our Facebook group, or hey, follow us on Instagram, or subscribe to YouTube, or wherever else they can interact with you online. This is the place where you can say, okay, now that you're in our community, now that you're in our home, let us show you around. It's sort of like if you invited people over for a dinner party, you would tell them, oh, the restrooms over here. Over here is the bar cart. Feel free to pour yourself a cocktail. We have, dinner coming up and some appetizers laid over here. You'll introduce other people, in the room. Think about how you make people feel really good when they first walk into your home. That's the kind of thing you want to do with your email autoresponder sequence. What are you all about? Give them that overview of who you are. Then you want to lean into adding more value. And this is kind of the surprise and delight side of business. This is where you want to sort of say, hey, you got that free lead magnet? Wasn't it awesome? Did you see on page 3 about how I talked about X, Y, and Z? Great. In today's email, I want to teach you this new thing and dive even deeper into what it is that you teach or share with your community. Give them something real and valuable that they can learn from you without asking for anything in return. This is just free bonus value that you can give them. Then the next email is when I like to sort of teach a little bit more, again, give a little bit more backstory on the challenge and the struggle of the topic that we're talking about, and then introduce the product. Say, hey, this is why I created XYZ product. And then the next 2, 3, 4 maybe emails, this is when you give them a better idea of what the product is, who it's for, answering common questions, showing some success stories and some wins other people or what you have gotten from following the same system. And then giving them an offer, giving them an opportunity to say, hey, if you want in on this, here's how you can join me inside with this program or get this ebook or whatever it could be. So that's what your email autoresponder sequence looks like. It gives them an introduction, welcomes them in here, gives massive value, teaches a lot, and then introduces a product that is actually valuable and can help them, which leads us to the last pillar, which is our profit driver. This is the actual product, right? So we have to have a product to sell at the end of this autoresponder sequence. So it's a valuable digital product, and we'll talk again about why digital products are the best ever. And as someone who owns a physical product business, I can tell you it is way easier. But a digital product could be in the form of ebooks or like digital downloads. So they could be templates, they could be stock photography or stock images, things like that. Anything that's digital in nature that you can deliver online. It could be courses, video courses, audio courses, membership sites, even group coaching. Even though that's not purely passive because you do have to show up in sort of a group setting, it is much more scalable beyond the one-to-one, right? You can do one-to-many model in terms of group coaching programs. Also, this isn't really what I teach. I have done businesses like this in the past, but like an app or a software where it's a service as a software, SaaS, you may have heard that before. That is technically a digital option as well. It's the hardest to develop and it costs a lot of money up front to get that off the ground. So we're going to really focus on digital products in the form of courses, membership sites, etc. But that is also an option if you're into that kind of thing. So the reason I love digital products over physical products or consulting or services, which we've talked about previously, but it's the easiest to get off the ground. It's the fastest. It's the cheapest for you to develop. In a future episode, I'm going to talk about how you can launch your online business for under $50. And so you could start making passive income online and only spend $50. And that's incredible. You can't start a coffee shop for that. You can't build an app for that. A lot of other things, it's a much more expensive to get it off the ground. So I'm going to show you in a future video how you can do that for under $50. Also, when it's digital, there's unlimited quantities. So versus like a service or even your consulting services, there's a max to how many you can do that because you only have so much time in the day. Whereas at digital, you could sell it all day, every day. You can sell 1 million copies, if you will, because it's digital. There's no limit to the number that you can sell. And like I mentioned before, just like with the email, I love Kajabi. Kajabi hosts my email service provider. It also hosts all my online programs and products, and I love it for that. Another great tool I like to talk about is Podia for this because it's very affordable, especially for newbies. But I really do think everybody should get started with Kajabi, but that's just my opinion. So those are the 4 key drivers, the 4 pillars of a passive income online business. We have your consistent, valuable content. This is your discovery driver. Then we have your irresistible lead magnet. This is your lead driver. Then we have your email autoresponder sequence, which is your sales driver. And then we have finally your valuable digital product, which is your profit driver. If you have those four things in place, then all you have to focus on is putting out more discovery content, more of that free, valuable content, and using your creativity to drive more people into your business, into the funnel, and offering value. And then they have the opportunity to go through the email sequence, learn about your product, decide to buy it, and that you continue that ecosystem over and over and over again. This is your automated income engine. And it's super powerful and valuable. And once you get all of these elements in place, then we can start talking about more advanced strategies and more types of discovery drivers you can implementing more types of lead drivers, getting fancier with even your sales drivers and that sales funnel system, and then expanding your valuable products and offering more products and that serve people at different stages of the process or takes them to a deeper level or all sorts of things. You can, once you have this ecosystem in place, then you have choices. And like I said at the beginning of this episode, I want you to have choices. I want you to be able to look at the landscape and go, I choose this, because you have the freedom of time that you've always wanted. You've had location freedom, like we talked about. And of course, you have some financial freedom and stability from your automatic income engine. Whew, that's a lot, I know, and we're going to be diving deeper into all of this in the coming weeks and months and hopefully years ahead. This is what Brazenness is all about, but I wanted to set the stage, set the framework for what you are going to learn in this podcast, on this YouTube channel, and I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, let me know down in the comments, which of these key drivers do you already have in place? Which one do you have the most questions about? Maybe there's something where you're like, I'm a little concerned and don't really know where to start with this. Let me know down in the comments below which one you have in place or which one you have more questions about. And of course, don't forget, go download the 30-day online income roadmap. This is my step-by-step system. Week by week, I show you all the checklist items that you need to do to start earning an income online. So thank you, tornado warnings. Gotta love the Midwest. We're just gonna keep rolling with it. This is gonna show you step-by-step how to start earning an income online, even if you don't have an idea, you don't have an audience, you've never earned income online. It's gonna show you step-by-step what to do each step of the way. I promise you, if you just take action with what I tell you in this guide, you will make a little bit of money online. And I think once you get that first taste, you're gonna want another hit after that, another hit after that. So go download the guide. It's at brazenness.com/roadmap. I love to have you in our ecosystem and in our business and our community, welcome you into our Brazenness home. And I can't wait to see you on the next episode. If you did enjoy this episode, please like this video, subscribe to the new YouTube channel. You're probably looking at this, probably have like 5 subscribers at this moment. Please join this community. If you're listening on Spotify or on Apple Podcasts, please leave us us a rating and review. We'd love to hear what you think about this first episode coming back with the podcast. And we can't wait to see you in the next one. And remember that every day you postpone a dream, you weaken it just a little. So get out there and make some magic happen. Cheers.